Dogecoin looks like it's getting some resistance right here. Resistance, resistance, resistance. We're in a downtrend right now, in my opinion. And the next level I'm looking at going to the downside is .15649. Let's see if we could come down. It's that Fibonacci retracement level. If we zoom out, let's go to the daily time frame. I'll show you how I got this level right here. I'm looking at the bottom of this trend to the top of the trend. We get the Fibonacci retracement level, Fibonacci retracement tool, and then we drag from the bottom to the top of the trend, and that gives me the levels that I'm watching, or the Fibonacci retracement levels. And right now it looks like we're, like I said, it looks like we're trending down. It looks like we've got resistance, basically lower highs. So we came up high, low, but we are getting support right here. We have support and we have support. We have this support line right here. So we do have to break this trend line right here before we could get more confident on actually hitting this target. I was kind of thinking about this earlier too when we were on the 5-minute. I was on the 5-minute time frame, and I was looking at support, giving me a trend line, something like this. And we broke this trend line going to the downside right here earlier today. So I was wondering, are we going to go down further? Maybe we can come back, hit this Fibonacci retracement tool. What I was hoping was we could just come back down, hit this line right here, and then bounce back straight up. And then we could continue on with that target that I was looking at, because I'm not so sure about that target, that big, huge target that I was looking at earlier. I mean, we could be on there, but anyways, I was thinking maybe we could just come down, hit that, and then come back up. So I did dollar cost average a little bit out, and when we started on this trend line going to the downside, so I did put in a limit order here at .15649, and let's see if we could come down and hit that real quick. If not, then yeah, let's see if we can continue to go to the upside. I was talking about this red line in my last video, and where I got this from was from, I'm still on the 5-minute time frame. If we go to the hourly time frame, we have resistance, basically the previous resistance zone. And I was saying in my video earlier that this red line might give us some trouble. If we could break through that, then I'll be more confident on that bigger target here in this red Fibonacci zone. But we weren't able to get through there. It looks like we're getting resistance pretty much right around that area. The actual top, we could actually drag this red line up here. This is what I was realizing earlier, and because this was the top right here at around .16901, and we basically came right up to that level, and then that's when we started trending to the downside. And that's why I was kind of thinking, and I was saying in my video, like, is this going to give us trouble and we're going to start heading down? Even at this target, are we going to start heading down? But we're still above this Fibonacci retracement level, so I'm kind of wondering maybe it'll give us a bounce on it and we can use it as support now, that Fibonacci retracement level, because sometimes it'll act as support. Like yeah, I mean we've definitely seen it where they get bounces on them. So yeah, and I think, okay, so let's say it continues to break this Fibonacci retracement level and goes down. I am looking at this level and this level right here sitting at, let's see, what are they at? .15187 and .14509. And the way I got this was a Fibonacci retracement. So, but it's a smaller one from, so we had a nice run like this. I always talk about like the Fibonacci retracement. We have a nice run, and then we're like, okay, well, maybe we've hit the top. We get the Fibonacci retracement tool, we drag from the bottom to the top of the trend, and we look for these levels, because we are technically in a downtrend. We're getting resistance. We haven't broke this trend going to the upside quite yet. So these are the next levels, in my opinion, that we can watch going to the downside that might give us some support. I know it's a little bit. Let's go to the other chart that I was looking at. I was looking at it on Binance or something like that, and this is just basically a clean chart where I don't have any other things on it. So like I was saying, we have a big run up, or a nice whatever. We have a nice run up. It went parabolic. We have a couple trends, but it looks like it's kind of breaking them right now, and we're getting some resistance going to the downside. So we're gonna get that Fibonacci retracement tool. We're gonna drag from the bottom of the trend to the top of the trend, and then that's gonna give me the 23%, the 38%, the 50%, and the 61%. These are sitting at 0.15806, 0.15080, 0.14493, and 0.13906. I mean, it's possible 0.13070, but that's kind of low. So what I would be kind of looking at more is this 50% level, maybe sitting at 0.14493. If you want to be safe, maybe 0.15080. That is if we continue this downtrend. I'm thinking this, like, I'm not, okay, so why am I picking this one and not this one? Because this would be more. Technically, you probably could, I mean, you could try for this one, but what I'm thinking is we have support right here. We have support right here. Let's go ahead and draw that trend real quick. We have a trend line going something like this. It's possible that we just come down, we hit this level right here, and then get a bounce to the upside. If we continue breaking this, if we break this line right here, then that's when we can get more comfortable on these targets right here. And basically, if we switch back to that other chart, that's where these orange lines are coming in. So basically, we could do price targets, or not price targets, but price, what are they called? Price labels, just so you can see what levels I'm looking at, and why I'm kind of looking at that and not the next one down. If we do break this one going to the downside, then I'll go back to these other Fibonacci retracement levels on the bigger time frame, like I was talking about. If we go to the daily, I'm looking at this big, huge Fibonacci retracement that gives me levels from this whole area right here. And then I'm also looking at it in this smaller area right here. And that's where I'm getting these levels, because like I was saying, in general, with the Fibonacci retracement, we use the Fibonacci retracement because we want to find places to buy the dip. We think it's going to the downside, and we want places that we think it'll bounce, or that it'll kind of space out the where you could dollar cost average in, because we're starting to break the trend. Let's see if this continues down, or if it's just a little fake out going to the downside and it continues up. Like I said, I think what I'm watching is this support right here and this support right here. Let's draw a trend line, something like this. And then I'm also kind of watching the top over here, though. You know what I mean? We have this top right here, and we kind of haven't, I mean, that's where we caught resistance. It's possible that even if we do break out, maybe this top will give us resistance again, and we might be in a channel pattern. So we have to kind of, and then we could break to the downside again. So, which could be a double top. A double top is actually it's kind of like a W pattern, a reversal pattern, where you, it's basically the top. So yeah, that's possible that that's in the cards. So if we don't break down here and we pop up, it's still possible that this gives us resistance and we have to come back down. And if we break that, then it basically just depends on what we do right here. Are we going to break this going to the downside? Are we going to get support, come back up and break this going to the upside? Or are we going to get rejected and come back down? A lot of things that could happen. So, but that's like the main thing that I'm watching, I think, right now. Mainly this line and this line, the top and the bottom right there. Let's see if it breaks down. If it does, then I'll be more confident on this Fibonacci retracement level. I guess I should put one of these right here, because this is actually my next target, 0.15640. Let's see if we can actually get there before maybe we can start going back to the upside. Let's go ahead and delete some of this other stuff, or let's actually go back to that other chart where I can just kind of delete everything. Let's just delete everything, and then I want to show you that big chart, or that big huge target that I was looking at earlier. Something like that we can use. You could argue this in a couple different ways. I'm using the wicks right here, and then I don't know, I guess you should use the wicks on the bottom too if you're gonna do that, but I kind of like using the bodies. I don't know, yeah, I'd say the bodies, honestly. Let's go with the bodies. So we had resistance, support, resistance, support, resistance, support, resistance. Actually, not really resistance. We kind of broke through that pretty easily. Basically, we're in a falling wedge, falling channel pattern. We would drag from the top to the bottom, or we would target the top of the wedge. Well, we could drag from the top to the bottom of the wedge, drag that to the breakout, and we're looking at a target of 0.19957, around 20 cents, somewhere around there. this previous top as well. I was looking at that area as well, which is sitting at .20237. I think that was the last target in my last video. Basically, what I was going to say though is, okay, so we had this trend line, we broke it going to the upside. We actually did close this candle green right here. Now we're in the next candle. It's red right now. Maybe it'll just come down, retest down here or something. Maybe just get like a little retest to the downside and then push back up. Maybe it just needs a little bit of time to deal with this area right here. I think I talked about it in this morning's video too, where it's possible we're going to be doing something like this and then we have to break out. So but yeah, it's kind of, I think going back to that other chart is like watching the watching this right here. If we break that going to the downside, then it's more possible that we start coming down to these levels and we break through this trend line down here, because if we set up the Fibonacci retracement levels down here, let's go ahead and do that real quick from the bottom to the top of the trend. Yeah, like let's say we go back down to the 50% level, which is .14495, which would be kind of reasonable. Honestly, we had a nice big run. If we go back to the 50% level and then get a bounce out, or sometimes trade in between them or whatever, but usually 50% level is a good one to kind of shoot for. Then we would be coming back into that trend line, and it would be, if we zoom out, it'd be back into this channel pattern. So it just depends. Let's see how far it goes down, but I don't think the Fibonacci retracement on the bigger time frame is let me go back to this Dogecoin real quick. I think let's go ahead and delete everything. Let's go ahead and do the Fibonacci retracement from the bottom to the top of the big trend right here, because this is what I'm talking about. And then let's go ahead and do these trend lines, the top trend and the bottom trend, something like this. What I was going to say is, if we come down and hit this Fibonacci retracement level, the one that I was kind of talking about, the one at .15560, I think that was the next target. Yeah, 15640. Then that one is not above, that one's not below the trend line. And I guess we probably have to adjust this one a little bit because the way that I was using it before. But I think that looks reasonable right there. Let's go ahead and do something like this. I think it was. So yeah, I think, okay, so basically my point is, if we come down and touch this Fibonacci retracement level, we're still above the trend line, meaning that we're still closing above that trend line. We're not breaking back into this channel. I don't want to see us come back. I don't want to see us break back into that channel, but that 50% level, like I said, isn't, it's kind of reasonable to say that we might come back to that 50% level if we are retracing that far down. We might not be retracing that far down. Sometimes sometimes we only go down to the red level, to 23%. Let's go ahead and draw it real quick from the top to the bottom. Maybe this red line right here, the 23% sitting at .15826 is going to be where we're going to hold, and we're going to bounce. Still, we're still waiting for that bottom line, like I was saying. So let's see what happens. Yeah, that's a lot. So it looks like we're breaking it, and it looks like we've been trending down. So that's why I'm kind of thinking on that Fibonacci retracement level to start with, sitting at, let's just go ahead and recap, sitting at .15640. Let's see if we can come down and hit that one next. Maybe we could bounce after that. If not, then maybe we'll be looking at those other Fibonacci retracement levels sitting at .15172, or maybe even .14521. Maybe we'll dip down real quick, then retest this other one. We have support right here, support right here. Maybe we will retest that, and that's where we'll get the bounce. I'm not sure, but like I said, we're just looking at the resistance, and that's giving us a trend line. Until we break that one decisively, then we're in a downtrend, and it's possible for us to hit some of these targets going to the downside. Let me know what you guys think though. If you guys want to watch the last video, click right here. If you guys like the video, then click the thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next one.